as a result of the legislation we passed in the last Congress, reaching an annual rate of $190 billion of private sector investment in manufacturing jobs in America, the highest that rate has ever reached. Let me repeat that. That's the highest it has ever reached under the previous administration, which was less than half of that. Wages continue to grow faster than inflation, which has fallen to less than half of what it is a year under the previous on bringing it down. More Americans are working today than at any point in our history. Think of that. More working Americans today than any time in our history. Americans have the grit, the ingenuity, and the determination. They just need the tools. They need the wherewithal, the opportunity to, as I say, make it in America. That's why we passed laws to lower their health care, prescription drug, and energy costs. It's why we took historic action to build safer communities and to expand care for our veterans. And it's the reason that we made once-in-a-generation investments in infrastructure and manufacturing to create jobs, strengthen our supply chains, and give a better quality of life for our people. The impact of these policies will only continue to grow as we implement these historic laws. The President's going to talk about those. I've been proud to help lead House Democrats in that effort as chair of the new Regional Leadership Council and in the last Congress as Majority Leader. We're ensuring that these transformative laws reach every American in every corner of the country, from our biggest cities to our smallest towns and most rural areas. No matter where they live, all Americans deserve to see how these laws are investing in America, investing in Americans, creating jobs, lowering costs, and strengthening the middle class. I congratulate and thank President Biden and his administration for advancing that mission here in Maryland and throughout the country. Yeah, that's the applause line. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren, I thank President Biden for investing in a stronger, healthier, more competitive, and more job-producing America, today, tomorrow, and for generations yet to come. Now I'm pleased to introduce the junior senator, Chris Van Hollen. Soon to be the senior senator from the state of Maryland, Chris Van Hollen.
All right. Thank you, Steny. Thank you, Steny Hoyer. It's an honor to be back here at Prince George's County Community College. To President Williams, thank you for your leadership. To the amazing faculty, staff, and the students at Prince George's County Community College, if you could please join me, Steny Hoyer, Ben Cardin, and our Governor Wes Moore in making sure that President Biden can hear your welcome backstage here. Thank you for being here, President Biden. That is a warm Maryland welcome. You know, this community college helps create strong career pathways so that students can achieve their dreams. So it's fitting that President Biden is here today to talk about his economic agenda, because Bidenomics is about creating pathways to make the American dream come true for all Americans. You know, for far too long, the reigning economic ideology in this country, and it's a fact that this has been especially true among Republicans and the MAGA crowd, has been the idea of trickle-down economics. You know what that is. It's the idea that you give big tax breaks to the very, very wealthy, and that somehow the benefits of those tax cuts will trickle down and lift everybody else up. That's the theory. The theory is that those tax cuts will provide, a rising tide that will lift all boats. Well, that's the theory. Joe Biden knows that in the real world, it just doesn't work that way. He knows He knows that in the real world, trickle-down economics is about making sure that the cuts help rise the waters so that the yachts and the already well-to-do go even higher, but everybody else gets left behind. Everyone else gets left behind. So the very wealthy keep getting wealthier, but everybody else is treading water. That's why instead of building an economy from the top down, trickle down, President Biden has been all about building an economy from the middle class out and from the bottom up so that we can really raise all people's standard of living. That's what Bidenomics is all about. And we also have the proof from the previous administration as to their agenda, because when President Trump was in the White House and you had Republican control in the House and the Senate, they passed a $2 trillion tax cut that went mostly to the very, very wealthy, and also helped reward some American companies that ship jobs instead of American products overseas. That is not the Biden way. Instead of giving more tax cuts to corporations that ship jobs overseas, President Biden has pushed through laws that finally require the biggest multinational corporations to pay a little bit more of their fair share. I want you to think about this fact. In 2020, the year before Joe Biden was sworn in as president, 55 of the biggest corporations in America paid zero federal income taxes on $40 billion of profit. That's not right. Under President Biden, we passed a law requiring a minimum 15% for those very big corporations. But it's how we use those revenues that matters, because what he did, President Biden, is to invest those funds in all of our futures, in making America stronger for everybody. The infrastructure modernization bill is resulting in putting more people to work right here in Prince George's County, building out transportation networks and building out high-speed internet connections. The CHIPS and Science Act, bringing more critical manufacturing jobs back home to the United States of America. The Inflation Reduction Act, creating more homegrown union jobs in the area of clean energy so we can also tackle the climate crisis. And we finally, something we've all been working on for decades, finally said to the big pharmaceutical companies, under the Medicare program gets to negotiate for lower drug prices for seniors. And the results are in. Congressman Hoyer mentioned the 13 million new jobs created, record for that first 2 years of an administration. Unemployment is down to record levels. We are seeing real wages up, union jobs up, new small businesses up. But I'm going to end with this. All of that is at risk right now as we speak. Because in the House of Representatives, the MAGA crowd is threatening to shut down the government unless they get their way on their far-right extreme agenda. What do they want to do? They want to go right back to trickle-down economics. They're calling for another round of very big tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans. They want to reverse the requirement that Medicare finally negotiate lower drug prices on our behalf. They want to undo the Inflation Reduction Act. So we cannot go back. We cannot turn back the clock. We cannot shut those doors of opportunity. We need to continue to build an inclusive economy with greater shared prosperity for all Americans. That's what Biden economics is all about. So I want to thank the President, thank all of you for being a part of this mission, and I want to thank the person I'm going to bring up next because he's been a critical part of our efforts to get all of that done. I call him not only the senior senator, but the experienced senator from the state of Maryland. I want to thank him. He still has a while to go, and he's going to run right through the finish line, as you can tell from being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please give Ben Cardin a warm welcome.
Thank you, Chris Van Hollen. I tell you, if you're going to have a partner in the United States Senate, I could not have a stronger partner than Chris Van Hollen and what he does for the people of Maryland and our nation. Team Maryland is strong. President Biden's in the House. It gives us a chance to say thank you, Mr. President, for what you've done. When you look at what he's been able to get accomplished in a very divided government, it's incredible. He deserves not only the thanks and appreciation, but the support of the American people for what he's been able to get done for us. Thank you, President Biden. Prince George Community College students are in the house. Dr. Williams, congratulations for your leadership here. This is one of the great institutions in our state. The president could not have picked a better venue to visit our state, and we thank him for that. President Biden's vision has been clear from day one: get us back on track after the devastating COVID pandemic and rebuild an economy that lifts up those that are less fortunate and expands the middle class, working from the bottom up, middle out, instead of the top down. You've heard my colleagues, you heard Steny Hoyer talk about that, you've heard Chris Van Hollen talk about that. Bidenomics is a paragon that shifts. It's building out the American economy, and it's a new way to close the income gap. It is working. Millions of Americans have been left behind. That disparity ends with Bidenomics, and it's about time.
Amen.
You heard Senator Van Hollen talk about this trickle-down economics that the Republicans have expounded for over 40 years. 40 years. People aren't even damp yet from that down economics. It has not worked. Bidenomics is centered on 3 pillars. And President Biden has delivered on each of these 3 pillars. First, making smart investments, public investments. Look around us. Look what's happening with our roads, our bridges, our transit systems, what he's done for the Chesapeake Bay. These bills have made huge difference, transformational investments in our economy and in our communities. Second, empowering and educating workers. You're doing that at Prince George Community College. And promoting competition. Americans can compete and win as long as we have a level playing field, and Joe Biden's fighting to make sure we have that level playing field so we have the good jobs here in America. I am proud to say that under President Biden's leadership, transformational bills have been passed. You've heard my colleagues list some of those. It's worth repeating because each one of these were incredible in their own right. The CHIPS and Science Bill talks about competition being here for us because we have the technology. We need to make sure that the productions are done here and the research is done here. That's what the CHIPS and Science Bill is all about. The Inflation Reduction Act, yes, we talk about it absolutely the greatest investment by any country ever in dealing with climate change. Climate change is real. We know that. We're going to be struggling with the aftermath on disaster relief in Congress. We've got to take steps to protect this earth. And the United States is now the leader, thanks to President Biden. But in that bill, we also, as pointed out by my colleagues, dealt with health care costs. We know that's a kitchen table discussion on how you're going to pay your health care bills. Well, they're coming down. Insulin, $35 a month, cap. Thank you, President Biden, for what you've done. Negotiating prescription drug costs. We have a plan. And Senator Van Hollen mentioned small business. I chair that committee. We had the largest growth in small businesses in our history, and in Maryland, it was led by women and women of color. We are making progress. we've left, as our governor says, we leave no one behind. PACT Act, our veterans, a new CBOC here in Prince George's County. We are making investments to do what's right for our veterans. And the list goes on and on and on. And I haven't even mentioned what President Biden's done with our courts. Justice Jackson and the judges that have been appointed. What a difference that is making. And the Respect for Marriage Act, the youth. President Biden's record is one that is absolutely incredible, and he did that in a divided Congress. It was not easy. Now, you heard the job numbers, so I won't repeat them again, but 13.5 million new jobs is worth repeating. It's the fastest growth in our history. We have regained all the jobs lost during the pandemic and created 4 million more, including 1.5 million in manufacturing, construction, and engineering. The previous president, I think you know his name, lost 2.9 million jobs during that presidency. What a contrast we have here. So Bidenomics is about us. It's about all of us growing together as a nation. And it's been led by President Biden. And we're proud to be on his team. This is Team Maryland. Let me let you know that. I am so proud of the leadership we have with Governor Wes Moore. He is poised to take advantage of all of these tools. He's already brought our state together. My only complaint is he calls too often. We've got other work to do at times. But we love him, and we respect everything he's doing, and we're all so proud to be part of Team Maryland. Welcome the Governor of Maryland, Governor Wes Moore.
What's going on, Prince George's? Y'all all right? I see y'all up there. It's good to see you. And it's good being back. It's good being back. Y'all good? Yeah. All right. All right. I tell you what, we're great. I got the baddest federal delegation in the country. I am so thankful to have each of you as partners. I am so grateful that every single day we know who is fighting for Maryland every single day down on Capitol Hill and beyond. So God bless all three of you, and thank you so much for all you continue to do. God bless you. So listen, when we heard that the president was coming to town, the president said, listen, we want to spend some time with your best and your brightest. Where should we go? We here, y'all. You represent the best of us. Pick the right place. You represent, that's right. You represent the source of our pride. You represent the hope of every single aspiration we have. You represent the absolute best of us. And so I just want to say also to all the students who are here right now, all the ones who are taking time off from class to make it out to this. I just want to say this to each and every one of you. You are here because this room will be incomplete if you weren't. Every room that you are in, you are there because you belong there. Every room you are in, you are there because you just made that room better. Every room that you are in, you are simply just sitting in a seat or standing in a place that was hard-earned and hard fought for. You stand there with your chest out. You stand there with your chins up, and you represent the way we know you know how to. So God bless y'all for doing that. And I got to tell y'all, so President Williams, and she knows, being here is also very personal for me. Because there's three things that I wear every single day. And each and every one of them, I wear them not just because they remind me of my commitment, but it's because they remind me of my strength. All right? The first is something I got when I was 17 years old, and those were my military dog tags. So, I can't pull them out. I got to take my clothes off. Mercy. Y'all are funny now. Here we go. Here we go. We working. My dog tags. I got these when I was 17 years old. and I wear them every single day. And they remind me of a commitment that I made, and they remind me of a pride that I have for every single person that I had the honor of serving with and the oath that we took. The second thing is I had the joy of 16 years ago marrying my best friend. And she is someone who as she says, you know, she actually was raised in New York, but then she just happened to, come to Prince George's County for college, and she never left. So she always very proudly says that we got a Prince Georgian who's living in the governor's mansion right now. And the third thing that I wear is my ring from my 2-year college. You know, I ended up finishing up at Johns Hopkins and then doing my graduate work over in Oxford as a Rhodes Scholar. And people say, so why is it that you wear the ring from your 2-year college? Because it's my foundation. It's the foundation that I have been able to use in every single step of my journey, whether it was my time in the military, my time running a small business, my time running one of the largest poverty-fighting organizations in this country, or whether it was because of all of you becoming the 63rd governor of the state of Maryland, the first African-American in the history of the state. We are very proud of the fact that we have some of the best 4-year schools in America. A fact that we are very, very proud of. But I want to be very clear. We are going to end this myth that every single one of our students must attend one of them in order to be economically successful and in order to build up a society that we all hope for and we dream for. We need to and we will make sure we are rewarding Marylanders from all walks of life and from all paths to make sure that no matter your start and no matter your destination, that you are going to have a state that supports you, that believes in you, and that is willing to invest in you. Because we need you. And when we say that, I'm thinking about people like Nicole. Nicole is a mother of 6 who I met at Howard Community College. Nicole was working as a full-time medical assistant while pursuing her associate's degree in nursing. And I met her during her graduation. So she's now a graduate. And she is serving on the front lines of Maryland's healthcare system, making sure that every single person who sees her knows that you have not just a trained, but loving arms that are going to welcome you. Her journey shows how community colleges open up the pathway for success, and not just for some, but for everyone who is courageous and hardworking enough to walk through them. That no matter your age, no matter your field, no matter your profession, no matter your passion, this place can and should be home. And we need to lift up people like Nicole and so many others, like so many here, who want to gain new skills, even if they're already part of the workforce. And that's why today, I am proud to announce that the state of Maryland will be directing $17 million towards adult education, and that includes funding for all 16 of the community colleges here in the state of Maryland. Now that money is that's coming in partnership between the U.S. Department of Labor, or U.S. Department of Education, and also our Department of Labor. And I want to thank all of our federal partners, and also I want to thank President Biden for giving us the tools that we need to build true pathways for prosperity for every single Marylander. Our federal partners, and also I want to thank President Biden for giving us the tools that we need to build true pathways for prosperity for every single Marylander. And the reason that matters is this. Partnership matters, y'all. Who we have as our partner, it matters. It matters that we have an administration who understands what it means to have an economy that's built from the bottom up and the middle out. It matters that we have an administration who understands that results matter and that the people that we are intended to serve, that they should be at the forefront of every decision that we're hoping to make. no matter our background, no matter your family lineage, no matter where you came from, no matter the obstacles you have had in life, this country is yours, and this country will defend you and support you. And it matters that we have a partner in Washington that understands that. Our president has been very clear on his vision to empower and educate workers and to grow middle class. And it's a vision that I stand by because it's not only good for Maryland, it's good for all of us. And I can tell you right now, I will never support plans. Some of these plans that are coming from, that we see on the far right, that are talking about cutting job training programs by $4 billion. That is never going to fly in our state as long as I'm your governor. So for all of you who are here right now, and for so many of you students, the ones who took time off from work to be here, for some of you who had to commute over an hour to be able to get here, because there were not enough trains or buses or transportation assets. For all of you who are going to go home tonight and who are going to help your kids with their homework before you have a chance to work on your own. In Maryland, you are seen. In Maryland, you are heard. And in Maryland, you hold the key to all of our strength. So together, we're going to follow the lead of this president. We're going to work together to bring real results. And I can tell you right now, when we do it, this is going to be Maryland's decade. The rest of the country is going to know it. We are putting the rest of this country on notice. I have already let every single governor in this country know your time is up, our time is now. That in partnership, we are going to make this Maryland decade. And y'all, listen to me here. Think about what we've gotten done in the first 9 months. Imagine if you can give us another 4 years. We need this energy. We need the inspiration. We need you to remind people why elections matter. We need you to remind people why next November matters. We need you to remind people that we are moving. And because we're moving in partnership, we're not stopping. It's our decade, y'all. Thank you so much for all you continue to do for our entire state. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Prince George's Community College student, Sade Davis.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here today. My name is Sade Davis, and I'm a second-year student at Prince George's Community College, where I'm studying to earn my associates in public health. As a first-generation college student, I'm also proud to serve as an elected member of the Board of Trustees. My most important role, however, is mom. I'm a mother of 2 young boys, ages 9 and 13, and while they always keep me on my toes, they are both my motivation and inspiration. From my parents, a former police officer, and a proud union maintenance worker, I learned the value of service. Of dedicating yourself to bettering your community. I learned the important things like hard work, the value of a good-paying job to raise a family on, and leading a life of integrity. I'm grateful that in President Biden, we have a leader who's focused on families just like mine, who's fighting every day to restore the middle class and to give hardworking families across this country more breathing room. As a college student, I feel hopeful about the future. Hopeful that I can build a career and provide more opportunities for my children. And that's due in no small part to President Biden. He's getting things done. And he's fighting every day for people like me. It is now my honor to introduce President Joe Biden.
As my mother would instruct me to say, please excuse my back. I apologize. Sade, I just told her when she walked off the stage, when she's president and they say Joe Biden's out in the waiting room, she promises she won't say Joe who. Please, do you have seats? Okay, I once said that early on in my tenure, Gov, and I said, everybody take a seat. None of them had seats. Well, I tell you what, you guys are impressive. And 3 of you are really close friends. And one's about to become a close friend. Gov, my problem is your biceps are a little small. And you're not in very good shape, but I'll work with you, see what we can do. No, but really and truly, thank you. And I appreciate it very much. Senator Ben Cardin is one of the great, I hate the phrase public servants, but it is true. You know, I judge my colleagues over the years based on not just their intellectual capacity and their decency, but their integrity. The men you have here have incredible integrity. And it's just amazing. Chris Van Hollen is one of the reasons why I got elected vice president. He's the guy that did my debate prep for me. And without it, I'd been in real trouble. And Steny Hoyer, he and I share the eastern shore of Delaware and the western shore of Maryland. You know that whole area in there? I keep telling him that it really is part of Delaware, but he doesn't. And David, thank you for being such a great partner. You've been great as well. I really do appreciate it. Prince George Community College, thanks for welcoming us here today. As many of you know, my wife is a professor at the community college. Matter of fact, she's teaching today. She has an expression, and I mean, this is the God's truth. She said, Any country that out-educates us will out-compete us. Any country that out-educates us will out-compete us. The work you do here in preparing students to compete in the economy of the future is real. It matters. This summer, I traveled to Chicago where I spoke about a fundamentally changing American economy. From an economy that for decades rewarded those who are at the very top and left everyone behind, who just on their own, basically. One that gives working people in this nation not only a fighting chance, they didn't do. You know, that trickle-down economy, not a whole lot. I grew up in we weren't poor, but we had a 3-bedroom split-level house with 4 kids and a grandpop living with us. And I didn't see a whole lot trickle down on my dad's kitchen table. But, you know, everybody deserves a shot at building the lives they deserve for their families. And we've done that for the first time in a long time. We've climbed out of our great economic crisis. It's beginning to work for working people. This nation is very rich. We have, and who have benefited the most has been the very rich, though, not everybody. And that's not how it should be. The new economic vision has been labeled by those in the Wall Street Journal and the London Economist and some of the more conservative press as Bidenomics. Well, they didn't mean it as a compliment at first. But now they're getting it. What's Bidenomics? It's about investing in, and I feel like I'm going to try not to repeat some of what my colleagues have already said, but it's about investing in America. Investing in America and investing in Americans, American people. It's about growing the economy from the middle out and the bottom up instead of the top down. Because when the middle class does well, the poor have a ladder up and the wealthy still do very well. I'm a capitalist. If you guys go out here and you can make $1 billion, go get it. Just pay a little more in taxes. But look, but our friends on the other team, on the other side of the aisle, they have a very different vision for America. And by the way, you have this, I think you have this book on your table, on your chairs, maybe not. Well, I thought did my staff hand this out? You just have a little one. Well, I'm the only president who hands out the opposition's economic plan. Oh, you think I'm kidding? Protecting American Economic Security, fiscal year 2024, the budget, the study committee of Kevin Hearn, budget, and it goes on. This is the mega budget. You know, I want you to take a look at it. I think we have other copies of it. If we don't, we'll get you some. So since I've come to office, all they've really done is attack me and my economic plan. There hadn't been much else. Even though we've created, as has been pointed out, over 13 million jobs, more jobs in 2 years than any president's created in a 4-year term. Even though, I'm not looking, even though we've had 19 straight months of unemployment under 4% for the first time in American history, even though we have the lowest inflation rate of any major economy in the world, with core inflation rate the last 3 months at 2.4%, we got more to do, even though we've created 800,000 manufacturing jobs. And a manufacturing boom we haven't seen in decades. Even though America, as we met here today, has the strongest economy in the world. Let me say that again. America has the strongest economy in the world of all major economics. And all they do is attack it. But, you know, you've noticed something. For all the time they spend attacking me and my plans, here's what they never do. They never talk about what they want to do. No, think about it. They tell you what they're against. What are they for? It's like they want to keep it a secret. I don't blame them. Well, today I'm going to talk about their plans. Look, we're going to talk about the MAGA Republican economic plan. And by the way, this is not your father's Republican Party. This is a different deal, all kidding aside. We've all worked with Republicans on the other side over our careers and become good friends, honest, decent people. Disagree like hell with them, but they were in the deal. They thought the institutions mattered. They thought it mattered. Well, guess what? Our democracy is at risk because I don't think they do think it matters anymore. Because the country should know the facts. They should know the choice between Bidenomics and MAGAnomics. American growth and hope, and we're building, or American lost jobs, raising fears. MAGA Republicans gave us a few short years ago. Look, their plan, MAGAnomics, is more extreme than anything America's ever seen before. Just months ago, they went further than anyone has ever gone, threatening to default on the debt that's over 220 years old. Default, unless we gave them everything they wanted. We gave them nothing they wanted. We gave them nothing when we got a deal. But up to now, Republicans have given us a failed plan, a trickle-down economics that didn't work. My guess is your story is just like mine. Not much trickle-down ended up helping y'all. Instead, there's what trickle-down economics did. It shipped jobs overseas. There's a basic thing. Find the cheapest place in the world for labor, send the jobs there, the product there, and then import the product home. Well, you know, they hollowed out the main streets of America. They did the same for the middle class. They blew up the deficit. It produced an anemic economic growth, if any